Unprecedented, transformational. Silver and gold are going through those times right now. Yet we get warnings from some of the top names out there, in particular about silver. We'll talk about what Robert Kiyosaki has to say, but more importantly, we've got big news stories coming out of places like the COMEX, China, even mainstream media that are pointing us to the fact that we could still be very early in this rally for gold and for silver. We're going to cover it all. I want to say thank you for joining me down here in the basement. Please subscribe to the channel. We want you to come back. You can leave a comment, give us a thumbs up. All of it is much appreciated. But guys, we've got an incredible amount of information coming at us right now in what truly are unprecedented and transformational times for the precious metals. Let's dig in. We got a lot to go over. We're going to start here with news out of the COMEX, the electronic exchange. We got several stories that we want to cover from the COMEX, but this one first from Gold Silver HQ. People want their physical. This is a physical driven rally in the precious metals right now. Hold on. We're having some tech issues. I want to make sure I got us on here. Stay with me for just 1 second. And if you can hear me and you can see me, please give me a 5x5. Hold on 1 second. Maybe Susie can chime in on the walkie-talkie.
I see the screen. I don't see you.
Okay, so you do see the screen. Hold on 1 second.
Gold Silver HQ.
Okay, hold on just 1 second. Okay, all right. I think you guys can see me and hear me. I'm sorry about that. We're doing this live, and as you know, any live broadcast will have its fair share of issues. But what you're looking at right now is Gold Silver HQ. People want their physical. This is incredible data, and I'll explain to you why. The COMEX delivery notices are already 3 times higher than in January of last year. These are people wanting their metal off the COMEX. But wait, there's more, because he points out we're not even halfway through January. So when we look at this chart, here we have 2024, here we have 2025. On the left are all the months listed out. As you can see, 2026, let me erase that, 2026 right here, we are in January. We already have 6,860. And if we look back at January of last year, we were at what, 2,300? That's the whole month of January. And when we compare this number in 2026, what, the first not even 2 weeks of January, to what we saw on a monthly basis back in 2024, the only month, right, in 2024 that was higher was December. Okay, and remember, this number, almost 7,000, is only the first 2 weeks of January. Okay, we're going to move fast, guys, because we got a lot to cover, a lot more evidence as to what's happening. Just this morning, apparently the CME group has decided, that's the COMEX, to launch 100-ounce silver futures to meet record retail demand. So they're now going to launch a 100-ounce futures contract. Here's the press release right here, and it says it underlined in red: CME Group, the world's leading derivatives marketplace. Yes, that means make-believe silver. Fantasy Island Silver today announced it will launch a 100-ounce silver futures contract on February 9th, pending regulatory review. Quote, silver is increasingly appealing to the retail traders looking to diversify their exposure across a wider range of metals. Why is this important? Because the COMEX is recognizing the incredible demand for silver. But number two, I think this will only hasten the coming to reality of the physical silver price, which we all know is much higher. And then we get this out of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the COMEX. Okay, TF Metals reports last night, and here you go, another margin hike, which is the way they tried to manipulate the price down, or at least that's the strong speculation that people have pointed to over the last number of decades. So they did another margin hike, and this one's a little different. Instead of a fixed dollar amount, margin will now be computed as 9% of notional value. So what they're doing, and that equates in notional dollar terms to 15% hike. But I think this is super interesting. Hold on here. Sorry, guys, little tech issue there again. This is super interesting because they're not doing it as a fixed dollar amount, but as a percentage of the price, the notional, based on the notional amount. And to me, that means they're saying, hey, look, this could go super high, and we don't want to keep having to raise the margin by a fixed dollar amount. We'll just do it as a percentage to protect ourselves. Man, it is getting crazy. What about China? Did we hit $100 silver in China overnight? We're moving fast, guys, because there's a lot of evidence for us to look at today. This one comes from Eric Yong, King Kong 9888, super reliable and respected voice in the world of precious metals. He says, today's China Shanghai Futures Exchange silver price is at $99.28. I saw several people putting out info that it actually had hit 100, but nonetheless, here's the proof. And since we can't read Chinese, we're going to believe him. And there's the math where he gets it all broken down to down here at the bottom. The final result that in China on the Shanghai Futures Exchange, which is their futures market, the silver price is, we're just going to round up and say that it's at $1. Okay. So we've got news out of the CME. We've got news from China about crazy silver prices. What's happening here in the United States? What about those good old American Silver Eagle coins, like the favorite of Western investors? Let's see how demand is for those. This, I think, speaks volumes. From Silver Trade yesterday, breaking. Oh, hold on here. Yep, breaking. U.S. Mint announces now a 1-month delay on Silver Eagle coins. The U.S. Mint released the 2026 Silver Eagle coins this morning, and they're gone. They're already saying if you want to get your hands on some of those American Silver Eagles, well, they're gone. Oh, and by the way, guys, today is the 13th of January, 2026. Some of you had asked for a timestamp. Now, it gets even more interesting. Zero Hedge puts this out yesterday, and for the first time ever, the physical is in triple digits. This was a screenshot from the APMEX website. Again, this was yesterday. American Silver Eagles, for the lowest you could get them for, that's if you buy 1,500. And again, this was as of last night, I believe, $99.69. So that's like buying in massive bulk, but also the absolute lowest price, right? The check wire price. Things are getting crazy. Let's go out and take a look at the spot silver price right now. Okay, we're pulled back a little bit here. We're up $2.32 on spot silver. And let's go look at the futures price in silver. Still, guys, $88.14. Really, truly unbelievable. Now, let's talk about new all-time highs. We want to review that. A very important concept for us to. Oh, thank you for the super chats. I'll get to those at the end. Let's talk about all-time highs. Let's talk about how crazy. And we got the warning from Robert Kiyosaki. We're going to look at that. We're going to look at some technical analysis also from one of the top analysts about, did we break out? Are we truly broken out in silver? There's some interesting insights there as well. But we got to remember one key concept as we break out to new all-time highs in the silver price and the gold price. Remember this: rarely do you hit an all-time high and then it's it, right? Once an all-time high is hit, it becomes more and more likely that more and more new all-time highs will be hit. Now, of course, right, there will come a point where there's a peak and then it takes a long time to get back there again. Think 2011, think 1980 with silver. But typically, as any asset hits new all-time highs, whether it's Apple computer stock, Amazon stock, real estate prices, anything, once a new all-time highs are hit, the likelihood of more new all-time highs becomes more and more likely. Okay. Hey, I want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mint for making this broadcast possible, for allowing us to come together. Okay. They're a silver mint in Las Vegas, Nevada. They specialize in silver. They're owned by First Majestic Silver, who mines the silver in Mexico, ships it to Nevada, where they mint it into these world-class silver bullion products like this one right here, the 10-ounce Folds of Honor bar. That's a folded American flag. It's so darn heavy, I can't hardly hold it up much longer, but absolutely beautiful. And this line of products that they have, the Folds of Honor, actually benefits the Folds of Honor Foundation, which provides academic scholarships to children and spouses of fallen and deceased members of the first responder and military communities. You can learn more about First Mint at firstmint.com, right? It literally, with them, the silver goes from the mine to the mint directly to you. Premium retail experience. You guys are sending all kinds of everyday great positive feedback on your experiences with First Mint. You can check them out for yourself, again, at firstmint.com. Okay, what's next? We got a lot going on. All right, let's talk about, did we break out? What does what does one of the top analysts tell us about the big move that we've had in silver over the last few days? This comes from the Bubble report. It's the free section. Jesse Colombo. Okay, silver. Now he has something very interesting and a little bit of a word of caution on this, but silver is breaking out. Silver broke out of its ascending triangle pattern. We're going to look at that in 1 second, indicating that a run to $100 plus has likely begun, though I'm looking for further conditions to be met for more confidence, for more assurance. What are those further conditions? It's real easy, okay? As I explained yesterday, the top of the ascending triangle in COMEX silver futures was $83. Everybody was talking about $83 resistance. That's the number we had to get through. We got through it. But Jesse says, I was looking for a breakout above that level on strong volume to confirm that the next leg of the rally had officially begun. That's where the little problem comes in, guys, because in red, he says, today we got that breakout, though volume was only average. I would ideally like to see more conviction behind the move, which may still come over the next few trading sessions, assuming the breakout holds. So here's the chart, and this really explains it all. You can see, okay, the triangle. There was this $83 resistance level, which is right there, which that green candle shows we broke out of yesterday. That was the wedge or the triangle pattern, right? It was either going to break to the upside or break to the downside. But the issue is down here, right? These bars that represent the volume, the trading volume. It was good, average-ish, right, as we look back. But what we really want to see is some volume way up in this area. So Jesse Colombo, it's the Bubble report. It's a Substack. He's like the most popular Substack in the precious metals arena, as I'm aware of. What he's telling us is we're in good shape, but we'll be in even better shape when we get that volume number that goes higher. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about this guy because, you know, not only are we getting some crazy predictions about the silver price, but there's the Asian AI guy, which everyone is suspicious of. You've probably seen him, but there's another guy, and I'm going to show you why I think we need to be a little suspicious of what he is saying because, hold on here. Here we go. This video came out. A lot of people sent this to me, leaked. Okay. Did you hear about this? Leaked information. JP Morgan internal memo sparks a $412 silver alert, forced to cover 6.2 billion ounces. So we're going to watch this for just a few seconds, right?
Battle stations.
I mean, doesn't that seem real?
This is not maybe someday. This is not another YouTube monologue guessing what could happen.
Okay, fooled me. And then I started reading more about it, and several people pointed out that they thought it was AI. And I want to share with you, if you go to this gentleman's YouTube description and go all the way to the bottom to the disclaimer, I highlighted it here in red. This video features AI-generated content and a synthesized voice. Any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental. And I don't know, apparently this guy closely resembles I think it's a British journalist or somebody who's older. So be careful out there. There's a lot of different information floating around, and this AI stuff can become very hard to discern what is real and what is fake. I know when the Asian AI guy first came out, a lot of people thought it was real. I spotted that one right away, but this one kind of had me going for a few minutes. And I do want to give you assurance when you're down here with me in the basement, which, by the way, it's a big honor you are here. Your time is valuable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am not AI. I've been making YouTube videos down here for 4 years. And when I first started, people said, is he AI? No, this is all real. Everything you see behind me is a real basement. Right. And I keep things simple. I had this conversation with somebody yesterday who said, well, you're like very unique. You're very different. I'm like, hey, I'm just me. And yes, I have a degree in accounting. I worked for a Big Four fancy accounting firm. I can use all the fancy terms. I could have a fake Wall Street background behind me, but I like to keep things simple and real because that's what most people are. So I really appreciate you appreciating that. We love all the kind comments. And upstairs, Susie, the one and only, she appreciates you too. High five, guys. Right? Because most of these concepts actually are pretty simple and pretty easy to understand. All right. Treasury Secretary Bessent. Man, what does it mean when the U.S. government's getting freaked out? Remember, they put silver on the critical minerals list. And then we get this, right, from the government yesterday. Nostra, House of Gold, shared the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Hold on a minute. I'm not sharing the right screen. Now I am. Scott Bessent is having secret meetings with financial ministers about silver. But wait, there's more, okay? Because this came from the U.S. Department of Treasury. Secretary Bessent convenes finance ministerial on securing critical mineral supply chains. We're going to look at some data about where silver comes from, how much gold people own here in a second. But the big key here is he convened, from what I understand, the G7, which is like the United States, Japan, Italy, Germany, and there's one of maybe France, like the big 7 Western economy. He summoned their leaders, but also had from what I've read, the leaders of Australia and India come in as well. Like they are freaked out about the future supplies of these critical minerals, including silver. And remember, what we know, what the Chinese are doing right now with silver. Hold on here. All right, now we're back. What the Chinese are doing right now with silver is incredible, right? Export controls. They did this with the critical minerals. They did it with copper and all. I mean, it's a very interesting world in which we live in, where there's really truly a scramble for resources. And silver is where we're seeing it most acutely right now. And let's look at some interesting data on silver. If I have this, hold on here. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Here we go. Okay. These are the world's top silver producers. Mexico, who we're, I guess you could say, friendly with. China. Where's the United States on this list? Peru, Bolivia, Poland, right? Here's the United States all the way down here. Does this explain, right? There we are. There's our level of silver production compared to the top 3. There's the number 3 and 2, and there's number 1, Mexico. Look at the amount of silver produced in Mexico as opposed to the smaller amount that we have in the United States, which would lead us to understand why when the Chinese are making big moves in the world of silver, that maybe now the United States is waking up after all these years, right? We've been trying to tell them, right? Silver's in a state of deficit. The silver price has been manipulated down. Nobody's been exploring or developing new silver mines because of the price being kept down. And now we're seeing it all come to a head, all right before our very eyes. And let's go over here. Interesting, quick data point. Now we're going to talk about gold, but he who has the gold makes the rules. Official gold reserves in ounces per person in each country. Where does the United States fall on this list? All the way down here. Here's the United States. If you're an American citizen, Okay. Your government has the equivalent of 3/4 of 1 ounce of gold for you, which is what, roughly $3,000. Interestingly, at the top of this list, you've got Switzerland at almost 4 ounces, and there's Germany, right? There's Italy also with significantly more. There's France, right? There's the Netherlands, Austria, Singapore, all these countries where per capita they have much, much more gold per person than what we have in the United States. And there's the actual list. Man, somebody ripped on me for screwing up with the screen shares. I'm really screwing it up today. Again, there's the list I just showed you guys. Sorry about that. Next. Oh, man. This one's powerful. Super popular social media news source for younger people is talking about, in almost mainstream, is talking about silver. Let's go take a look at this. Came out from, boop, here we go. Mario Nawfal, okay, who on the X platform has almost 3 million followers, right? This is about, I am now. Yes, I screwed up earlier. Sorry, guys. And again, I apologize. We're doing this live. It can get messy, but we get the information across. Mario Nawfal says silver at $85. People are buying insurance against everything collapsing. In green, he says silver just broke 85 for the first time ever, up 19% in 12 days. It was $29 in January of 2025. Let that sink in, guys. 1 year ago right now, we were down here in the basement talking about silver when it was $29 an ounce. Now it's 85. That's 180% gain in 1 year, while the S&P 500 has barely moved. But the big key takeaway from this is Mario Nawfal, he's like a good looking young guy. Hey, look, I'm 55. I'm older. Number one, he's more mainstream media-ish, but also his audience is younger people. And when we get more younger people, when we get more mainstream people, those people who we like to affectionately refer to right now as the sheeple that join us in the silver and gold world, it's going to be, it's just going to take a little bit joining us, which is going to make a massive, massive move. Okay, next up. Oh, Robert Kiyosaki, warning. That's what's coming up next, right? For silver in particular. That Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, putting out a big warning. Before we get to that, thank you, First Mining Gold, also for sponsoring Ron's Basement. Development stage gold company in Canada, 2 big, huge, multi-million ounce projects, Springpole in Ontario, Du Parquet in Quebec. Guys, there are not many big multi-million ounce development stage gold projects in favorable jurisdictions, and First Mining Gold has 2 of them. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com. What's Robert Kiyosaki trying to scare us for? Let's go see what he says. And then I've got an important point I want to make to you about his warning. But Robert Kiyosaki, hold on here. Yep, here we go. I'm going to get the right screen up for you. And Robert Kiyosaki put this out yesterday. Please be careful, which I think is true, guys, right? Everything can be volatile. Silver can be very volatile, no doubt. But he says silver is peaking. There will be a major pullback before it begins climbing again. I stand by what I'm doing. I buy silver all the way up to $100 and I wait. If and when silver crashes, I will be patient and wait till the silver market tells me what to do next. Okay. He says in orange, millions of silver speculators are selling as prices go up. The sellers will crash the silver market. Always remember Rich Dad's wisdom. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And then he brings up, besides, if you sell, you get paid in dollars. And what a great point, right? Like, I've never sold an ounce of silver. Have you ever sold silver? I mean, a lot of you have, and that's fine. That's great. But any ounce of silver that I've ever accumulated over the years, I've never sold. I look at it as generational wealth. And then I think, well, if I were to sell silver, what would I do with the money? right? And we won't go too far down that path, but if you do sell silver, you may want to consider putting it into some other real asset, because if you sell it for paper dollars, unless you're really good at timing the market and lucky, right, you're putting your money into something that's going down in value. So a lot of people say, if you sell silver, make sure you convert it into something real, like real estate, or maybe oil or oil stocks, or something, maybe gold, right? I'm planning on trading, that's what he says, my silver for gold. So he kind of gives us a warning, right? Talks about the silver price. Sorry, the streaming software is acting funny today. Talks about the silver price going down, warns people, right, who are selling on the way up because maybe they're being impatient, whatever. But he gives a little bit of a mixed signal about things. But I want to make an important point. Okay. Everything, it's a common knowledge, whether you're talking about stocks, bonds, silver, gold, anything, that oftentimes big rallies climb a wall of worry. Meaning, as they go up, 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 you're hearing all kinds of people putting out warnings, caution, whatever the case may be. So it could be the case that, hey, all these warnings, remember, last week we were told that the silver price was going to crash because of the Bloomberg Commodity Index rebalancing. That goes on through tomorrow, according to my data, wraps up tomorrow. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I could think that up to now, we've yet to see a real silver crash. So while Robert Kiyosaki warns us, right, the price in silver is doing what it's doing, and I think is up for more and more to come. I want to show you a data point now that I think drives home the fact that we are still early in this rally for gold and silver. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I can be wrong. I just share with you my truth. But I think this chart says a lot about where we are right now in this process. And this came from Jordan Roy Byrne from the Daily Gold podcast. And he had gotten this chart from gold.topdowncharts.com. And what this shows us, okay, implied allocation to gold stocks. Why do we want to look at that? Because gold is the granddaddy of all precious metals. And what we're comparing here, okay, is US ETF market share of the minor ETFs, the miners, the gold miners, versus the overall equity ETF assets. So like, what percentage of all ETFs out there are represented by the gold ETFs? And if you look down here at the red line, we can see something very, very interesting, right? Back in 2011, right, that percentage was up, almost got as high as 1.5%, up in this range. We still, right now, are just below 0.5%. And we have record prices in gold and silver. Okay. That was a good period, right? Back in 2011, basically got to $50 silver, for instance. But look at where we are now with the price of the metals and the fact that the miners have not kept up at all. What that tells us, and there's a big reason why this is important, is that there's a lot of catching up to do. The general market, the general investors have not yet woken up to what is happening right now in the silver and gold market, right? Really, truly, we made the sheep noise earlier, but the sheeple, the giant herd of people that just, I just buy S&P 500 and it goes up every year, and good for them because it has for a number of years, but that's likely topping right now. I heard Michael Oliver talking about that earlier today. Like the general leaders in the general market, right? The people just think, oh, I just buy this. They have not woken up completely to silver and gold. And when we start to see the mining sector, the mining stocks getting the attention that they deserve, that's going to bring more and more attention to the overall precious metals ecosystem, the physical metals, right? And up to and including the mining stocks, which have a long way to catch up, right? I mean, the mining stocks, I heard somebody say this, like with silver, the silver mining stocks are acting like the silver price is like $33 an ounce right now. Okay. Trust me, I own some of them. And I know I look and I've owned them for years and years, decades, some of them. And I'm thinking, wow, they're like priced the same that they were when the price of silver was $28, $33 per ounce. So when the general, and this is a powerful point for us to remember, that when the general investors wake up to what we already know, and there's that mad rush, we are in a sector that is still, right? Gold's the most valuable asset in the world. Silver is probably now, again, the second most valuable asset in the world. But when you look at them as a whole, right? And then when you look at the mining sector as well, just the smallest amount of money in the silver market, even though it's the second biggest asset in the world, is still very, very, very small. There's not a lot of room in the silver and gold lifeboat, right? That you and I and others in the precious metal community, we got our seat, but there's only so many seats in that boat. So here we go. Well, thank you. Oh, I need to go. Hold on here. And then we're going to talk about the sleeping giant. Man, you guys have been super generous. Super chats, never expected, always appreciated. We got one here from Renegade Silver. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you again. We got one from GMTH1. The $85 bear is ready to see. Yes, the $85 silver bear right there. See him? For those of you who don't know, that's Smitty, the silver bear. He's got a blindfold on that says $85. Here, let's get him. He's kind of cute. And I'll tell you when it's going to come off. Uh-oh. Up. And he's in this. By the way, that's a silver plated, I don't know, what do you call that? Chalice? Trophy? Anyway, that blindfold comes off when the weekly spot close is above $85 on a Friday night, if we get a close above $85. So thank you for that super chat. And Practical Preps, can you put prison bars on the Jerome Powell box? Let me show you what he's talking about. Yeah, so I haven't talked about that much, but what a bizarro world in which we live in. Uncertainty, right? Where we have the Justice Department investigating our old friend Jerome Powell, right? I kept him in a box, and now they're talking about, I don't know if they're going to put him in jail, whatever. I don't want to speculate on that, but there's Jerome. Hey, that's a great idea. This is Jerome. He's been in a box. I put him in a box years ago. Those of you who've been around for a while, inside his box is his favorite thing to do, right? Right? Print the old toilet paper money. But I put him in this box. Man, we haven't talked. This is critical. This is big. We haven't talked about this forever. Okay. Oh, I got another super chat, Susie says. Oh, I do. Okay. I'll say thank you to that in a second. This is critical to understand. The reason why Jerome is in this box, which says do not open, right, is because of one of the most powerful forces that we are experiencing right now. And we talked about it years ago, and that is stagflation. He's in a box, literally, because that's what he's in. He's got a tough economy, an R for recession on one side, and on the other side, he has an I for inflation. Stagflation is the scariest situation in the world for the Fed. If you want to, like, even the rats will leave that fancy new Federal Reserve building that's being rehabbed in Washington. If you walk into the lobby of the Federal Reserve and yell, stagflation, they run because there's nothing they can do. He literally is in a box, right? Because when you have a recession and you need to cut rates, which is what Trump's trying to force him to do, cut rates. Trump's talking about 1% interest rates next year. If you do that in an environment where you already have big inflationary pressures, that makes inflation go through the roof. And so then you got inflation going through the roof. You got to deal with that, which is raise rates. But if you raise rates, that makes the economy go down. It becomes like a seesaw of doom. And that's what happened. The reason why it's so important, this is critical to understand, is because in the 1970s in the United States, that's what we had, was a stagflationary environment. And by the way, during that period where we had stagflation, don't tell anybody, silver went from like what, $1.50 all the way to $50 in $1980, which if we adjust that for the CPI report, we get to a number closer to $200 per ounce. Now, and on the back of the box, just sort of the solution, right? I've cut a little slot, is this. Oh, I didn't show you that. That's a beautiful Buffalo round from First Met, right? That's the solution. You put that in the box. Hey, we got another super chat. Wow, you guys are being super generous today. Thanks, Practical Preps. Oh my gosh, Boru1326. Man, thank you for that generous super chat. Long overdue. Laugh out loud. I made
250 likes too.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Boru. Sorry, my eyes are bad. 1326. Let's ring the golden gong, huh? For good luck, right? Don't forget, guys. Good days, bad days.
For just 1 minute.
Hold on. Okay. Are you guys married? Do you have a wife that talks to you on a walkie-talkie while you're trying to do live streams? Hold on. Let's put that up there. Hold on. I didn't hear the last thing you said, Susie. Over.
Just say, why don't you just say hi real quick on the chat?
Okay. All right. Hey guys, I'm going to say hi on the chat. This is big because one of the critical reasons, besides the fact that silver and gold have been valuable for time eternal, right? 4,000, 5,000 years. Besides that fact, right, that they've survived every form of government. I was having this discussion last night with one of the sheeple. They've survived every form of government, every financial crisis. They've survived every war, every change in politics, you name it. Besides that fact that they're timeless in that regard, they're also valuable everywhere. And we're going to prove it to each other right now, because what you're going to do is in the chat, tell me where you're joining from. And I won't be able to get everybody, but I'm going to try my best to read these. Okay, go. I'm waiting. Want me to sing for you in the interim? There we are. Johnny. Hello, Mega. Hello, Alan. Satoshi. Greenspan. Oh boy. Ha. Oh, that's Susie. Okay. Texas. Johnny come lately. Alabama. Wow. Michigan. California, Washington, D.C., Manitoba, United Arab Emirates, Poland, Kansas City, Ohio, Singapore, Trenton, Michigan, Bakersfield. Oh, my gosh, I can't. Sturgeon, Michigan again, Idaho, Houston, Texas, Wales. Wow, that's awesome. Chicago, Georgia, Florida. We're all here. Yeah, you're all in the basement. Bakersfield, Portugal. Wow. West Virginia, Algeria, that's awesome. New York City, Illinois, Indiana, Pucallpa County, CLT, Louisiana. If I'm not reading it, keep putting it up there. Toronto, Denmark, Virginia, Sweden, Susie Swedish, South Korea. Oh my gosh, Tampa, Florida, Sheffield, England, North Carolina, Indiana, London, England, the home of the LBMA, Chicago. I'm a DePaul grad, India, South Carolina, Scotland. My buddy is the president of the Dundee Soccer Club, John Nelms. I went to college with him and played in high school. Anyway, Ireland, Wisconsin, Colorado, San Francisco, Orlando, Wisconsin, Chile, New Orleans. Keep going if I didn't read you. Fun Basement, Vancouver, Honolulu, Leverkusen, Bulgaria, Pismo Beach, Friesland, North Carolina. Your basement is an amazing size. Yeah. Estonia, Sacramento. Wow. Chile, Arizona, Miami, Florida. Man, you guys, it's awesome. Thanks for being here. Daytona Beach, Dubai, Michigan, Montreal. You're not stopping. California, USA, Antarctica. Wow. That's awesome. Slovenia. Texas, we've covered the globe. Is Texas a state or a country? Antarctica, Leeds, UK, Ireland. Man, guys, Egypt. Do you see what I'm talking about? Right? Silver and gold are valuable everywhere. Right? Paper money. One country does what's the Russian ruble worth in the United States? Florida, Texas, the moon. Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Thank you for your service. Puerto Rico, the Republic of Texas. My eyes hurt. Oh, Susie says my eyes hurt. Susie's ears hurt. All right, guys, have a great day. Okay. Thank you for joining me. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you, yes, you, next time.